In 1945, the crew of the USS New York spotted what they thought was a Japanese balloon weapon following their ship. The captain ordered that they shoot it down. It was only after firing at it did they realize they were actually shooting at the planet Venus. Now, those balloons in 1945 and this balloon surveillance today are two very different things. But I wanted to bring up that history because even trained military professionals have trouble discerning this stuff, which is what made former President Trump's son's tweet this morning so very concerning. At 11:21 a.m., Donald Trump Jr. tweeted, "If Joe Biden and his administration are too weak to do the obvious and shoot down an enemy surveillance balloon, perhaps we just let the good people of Montana do their thing." An hour after that tweet, the balloon was sighted over northwest Missouri, which is very far from Montana. So Don Jr. was effectively telling his followers in Montana to shoot their guns in the air at a target that was not actually there, to just shoot at whatever they thought was the balloon, at an object 60,000 feet in the air that they couldn't have hit even if it was above them. Tonight, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene echoed the same civilian call to arms, saying, quote, "It would be great if an average Joe shot it down because China Joe won't." Now, Don Jr. and Marjorie Taylor Greene may be the more extreme than most human beings, but they were not alone. Republican congresspeople and senators and the former president himself have all been jumping up and down all day, urging someone to shoot it down. Shooting down this balloon may be how this ultimately ends, but it is risky. The Pentagon's stated reason for not shooting down the balloon is the danger it could pose to civilians on the ground, either because this giant thing lands on some poor, unsuspecting civilian or because whatever is used to shoot it out of the sky hits a civilian. But I think this Republican instinct to shoot first and ask questions later, particularly as it relates to China, that goes beyond the actual logistics and geopolitical situation our country happens to be in right now. I know it is difficult to remember because President Trump has had so many scandals and said so many things since. But when Trump was a candidate for president, anti-China sentiment was basically a core part of his platform.
Let's say China. China.
China.
China. China. China.
China.
China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China. China.
Trump was truly obsessed with China, but he wasn't obsessed with real issues between the U.S. and China. He was obsessed with using China as a punching bag, as something he could point to at his rallies and get the crowd to cheer. China has always been one of Trump's go-tos, but it became really his favorite thing at the start of the pandemic.
It's a disease, without question, has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu, Wuhan. Wuhan was catching on. Coronavirus, right? Kung Flu, yeah.
The Republican Party loves a punching bag, especially when that punching bag is not American. And the party that has built its platform on nativism and isolationism also loves to fearmonger about foreign threats. So when an opportunity arose, literally 60,000 feet in the air, the GOP had a field day.
The next balloon might be filled with another virus. Pop, droplets all over. We're all on ventilators again. Now, how do we know the next balloon isn't loaded up with bioweapons? Just a little seepage over Nebraska. There goes the heartland.
What is your greatest concern as we track something that is the size of 3 buses now that China says was taken by wind that we can't substantiate?
My concern is that the federal government obviously doesn't know what's in that balloon. Is that bioweapons in that balloon? Did that balloon take off from Wuhan? We don't know anything about that balloon.
That was the Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee. And he is right about one thing. He doesn't know anything about that balloon. But he did not say that. Instead, he said, maybe it's a bioweapon. Maybe it's from Wuhan. Shoot it down. Also, blame Biden. This balloon is tailor-made for the modern-day GOP.